Okay.
Okay, welcome to the Bytown Economic Development Committee meeting for Thursday, May 7th. I see no public, so any additions or changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I'm moving on to approving minutes of the March 5th meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as distributed.
Did you hear that, Shannon?
I'll second it.
Vicky seconds. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I'll abstain because I wasn't there.
Okay. Housing committee update.
Do we want to do Tim first so he can go to bed?
Well, he's right next slide.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
housing
no,
thing
he's
is
fine.
very
Let him
quick.
suffer a little bit. It's fine.
I'm up now.
Well, he is in paradise, so.
So I do actually have a housing committee update, sort of. Only just yesterday did I send an email to the last known group of people who had been working on that to try and restart that group. So working around everybody's schedule is hard. My own schedule is extra challenging right now. But Thursday, May 20th at 2, a group of some people will meet to talk about something about housing.
Again.
Yes, again. So to hope kind of restart that. And on a similar but not really related note, I just resubmitted a question to VLCT. We are for both marketing and it would apply to housing too, trying to figure out what open meeting law requirements apply to those advisory committees. And that's been really hard to get those clear answers. So also hoping to hear back on that before those two things happen again. But that's housing.
Is that the 21st or 20th?
Whatever that Thursday is, 21st.
I think it's the 21st, but I'm not.
Yeah, no, it's the 21st.
Yeah.
So yes, I did hear back. I did not expect to hear back from people saying they would be coming. I asked if they couldn't come or if they didn't want to be notified. But everybody is replying all. So there will be some people there, we hope.
Yes. Great. Awesome. Moving on to the marketing committee. Tim has been diligently working on a 3-year strategic plan. We had a 5-year and we're at the end of that. And so we decided instead of a 5-year, it's more appropriate to do a 3-year as things change so much in a 5-year period of time. Especially in the marketing world, marketing and branding, actually. Tim is here to make a presentation, and the idea is for everybody to take a look here, and then they would go to both select boards the end of this month or next month. I can't remember that timeline that we were looking at. I think it's
End of this month, as long as nobody from this group or our committee next week have any major changes, then we would go this month.
right. So Tim, if you could take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gretchen. And so with that 5-year plan we've been making adjustments along the way based on, real-time data and what we were seeing and what was working. So this is really just a plan to kind of reaffirm where we're at now and that we want to continue along that same path. So really nothing groundbreaking or major changes that we're asking for, but really just kind of trying to lay out the next 3 years on the same kind of roadmap that we're currently on. So I'll just go through this quick. Shannon will share it with the minutes later, and anybody can, feel free to ask me any follow-ups, but I'll just run through it real quick right now. Again, using the same vision statement, nothing about us has changed. And we think that this vision statement, being a New England hospitality experience with relaxed lifestyle and abundant outdoor experiences that inspire visitors to relax, appreciate, and engage, still is pertinent, 5 years later today. So not changing anything there, but again, just reaffirming that that's going to continue to be our vision for marketing here in the Deerfield Valley. Continuing to focus on summer and shoulder season, with a little bit of work in the winter, as we've been doing with search engine marketing and social media, but, focusing the main majority of our budget and trying to get those softer times a year, continuing to fill those. So summer will continue to be our focus, along with fall and then shoulder seasons. Brand foundation, again, this is something we pivoted on a couple years ago. So, still the foothold of the Green Mountains still is a good designation for us. And that Where Vermonting Begins brand that we came up with has been working. And now that we're, going into the third year of that, we've created a lot of awareness for Southern Vermont, Deerfield Valley, around that brand and that slogan. And so we have a lot of equity already built in that. So at this point, we want to continue using that and continue building off the success that we've already established with it. Strategic anchors, continuing to establish Deerfield Valley as synonymous with Southern Vermont and being that premier destination to come to in the area. We want to, make sure that we're creating high quality resources throughout the travel journey, website, email, social media, anything that people want to research, coming to here, making sure that those are high quality and helpful to help drive our visitation. Continue to increase our visitation and expand our audiences and who we're reaching with our advertising. We want to continue to engage the community and make them our local ambassadors, so that when people are here, that they're our greatest resource once people are on the ground and asking what to do and making sure that they have the greatest experience possible. And we want to continue using data-driven, data to make all of our decision-making and real-time. Strategic audiences, primary stays the same with our families and our young adults. Those have been working good for us, so continue to be our primary. But this year, we're doing some testing in a retiree audience, trying to reach another age demographic there, with the point being, that they have more flexible travel schedules. So trying to fill a little bit more of the midweek time in those summer and shoulder seasons that we talked about. And then also trying to look to expand our group and event business, and get some more groups into our hotels to help fill out, again, some of those other times. Continuing to focus on day drive markets. This has, again, been successful for us, and looking at data, where we still see the best opportunity for us to spend our money is in those day drive markets to make the greatest impact. Yearly, kind of going along the same, again, roadmap that we've been using, focusing number one on digital advertising, paid search engine marketing, or organic Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, which also works alongside with expanding our influencers and having some more people help come and talk to their followers about the Deerfield Valley. continuing to get high quality photography. So we have those high quality touch points that we talked about in the strategic anchors. Email, something that we're continuing to develop and have a, more comprehensive plan this summer, and want to continue that. Engaging our stakeholders, again, back to creating those ambassadors that we talked about, and then continuing to use, data for our KPIs and how we're measuring the success that we have. So with, what KPIs are we going to be using? Same that we have been, with the first ones being our digital, so website traffic, engagement, time on site, social media growth and engagement, how many people we're getting to opt into our email, which we've had a lot of success. We're up almost 20% in the last year, which is great there. Rooms and meals tax and AirDNA data to kind of look at some of the data about, as much data as we have for real time, and what's happening on the ground. And then, like we did last year in FY25, that footfall capture, it is really expensive. And so we don't want to do it every year, but we've kind of targeted FY28 to be a year where we kind of add it back in, just to kind of continue to gauge that what we are doing is working and actually creating on the ground results. So again, how are we going to advertise? Same as what we've been doing with Google advertising, for our search, meta and pragmatic, display, influencers, and email, are all kind of our top channels that we'll be utilizing. And then finally, the financial roadmap for it would be, to kind of stay along the same path again that we've been on, and doing a 3% annual increase. So for FY27, it would be $253,000, and then increasing 3% every year to $260,000 in year 2 and $268,000 in year 3. These are really just kind of to give us an idea of what we would be looking for funding in the future. But as we have in the past, we would still be going to select boards in the fall of each year and making these actual requests. And, there might be some variance based on, real-time costs associated with putting this all together. But that's what we have for a strategic plan. Again, I know it's pretty dense and we went through that pretty quick, but does anybody have any questions or thoughts? Great.
Nothing, really? No questions? Okay.
Good.
Great. Okay. Tim, thank you so much. Which island are you on now?
I'm on Oahu in
Oahu,
Waikiki.
Nice.
That's-
Well,
Tough life, I
enjoy-
know.
Gretchen,
Enjoy the
before
rest of your time. What was that, Adam?
you move off from this, not necessarily a question, but more just flagging that there's been a lot of conversations in the town of Brattleboro around what's being loosely identified as economic development, but is really, once you sort of get down to the nut that they're talking about, it's mostly DBA, Chamber, the Route 30 folks. And it's taking the name of Next Gen. It was 2030, this coalition. And it looks like it's going to be mostly a collective impact kind of effort, but really identifying projects that are looking to happen, reinforcing the need for marketing and branding for Brattleboro. It may start to bleed out past Brattleboro. I can't quite tell where that's going to go, but very likely some marketing dollars. So there may be opportunity in the coming months to try to, bring back a little So Vermont piece to this, to just leverage each party's investments. So nothing really actionable at this point, but just something to keep an eye on.
Thank you, Adam.
If I could just jump in too really quick, Gretchen. The gentleman, Matt, who, from my understanding, helped to start all of that next gen stuff in Brattleboro, he did come to our Wilmington small biz cohort to talk about marketing. So I have connected with him as well.
Yeah, that
When was
meeting
that,
happened on
Sam?
Tuesday.
What was that,
What was
Adam?
that?
Just when was that meeting?
It was this past Tuesday.
Okay.
Was
Great.
that well attended, Sam?
Yeah, we had some folks come for the marketing piece that hadn't come to any of the other cohorts, so that was good.
Oh, really? So you had more than 7 probably? Or about 7?
I think it must have been a little more than 7 because we had everyone that's usually there. So,
Great.
yeah, it was really great. And he's very knowledgeable. So,
Super. Anything else on marketing? All right. Thank you, Tim. Sweet dreams.
I'll stick around for a few more minutes now that I'm
Okay,
up.
good. Okay. Next on the agenda is the economic data reporting, and we actually got it late yesterday afternoon. And Shannon and I were discussing this right before that we tried deciphering what came through, and it's a bit of a challenge to work through. So I think what we should do is probably send you the spreadsheets once we get them done about that 1% payment that we just received.
Yeah, I will share though. So we're confused because it's formatted completely differently than anything we've ever received before. Wait till I send it to you, Tim. So things are like out of order. It's very confusing. It comes through at like 5:30 at night. So if the numbers are correct, for Dover, we received $467,956.29, which is up 15%. And so this is a May payment and it covers February 4th to May 3rd. So who knows? But yes, we didn't have time to update anything, but get on that and hopefully send that out with minutes. But I did notice that for the second payment in a row, there is like this statement up top that I think is a direct result of Laura reaching out to them on our behalf, explaining what they've done to the payment. But it's very interesting. When I opened it this morning, I was like, these numbers are in the wrong places. So yeah,
And
hopefully
it's
those numbers are
repeated
right.
on page 2.
Yes, yeah, and there's a second page for the first time in the history of ever. So good times. But yeah, if those numbers are correct, that's a great May payment for us, and hopefully that is accurate.
Yeah, and there's movement afoot to let the towns keep 80%, so that's a positive thing.
That is a positive thing. So, Adam, I don't know if you've been up there advocating for that.
It's been a topic. We have not had an opportunity to testify, but keeping track in a discussion within the DRM tracking.
That would be great. We could really use those funds.
Mm.
Mm.
So,
There's also discussion to add pilot communities to be able to put a 1% on gasoline. So I don't know, Brattleboro loves the idea, but do people just stop buying gasoline in Brattleboro? Who knows? But it won't happen this year.
yeah, especially the cost of the gas right now.
Yeah.
Challenging. Yeah. Okay, anything else on economic data reporting? Hearing none. July meeting. This lands on the holiday, and what would everyone's pleasure be? We could so it'd be July 2nd. We could potentially meet then, but it's also the fireworks day, so that would be a challenge for Shannon and probably Tim and Pam. and Christine. So, I think we should probably either cancel and go to, our September meeting, or would you like to reschedule to the 9th? But I would have to change the time because I have a meeting at 9 a.m.
So I put this on here because last year I think you all canceled your July meeting, and thought we would see what you guys felt like doing.
I think we can cancel it. Great.
Yeah, it is vacation time. It's a busy time in the valley, and so. Okay, so is everybody good with canceling? I don't think we need a vote. We just need like a consensus. I'm
Yeah,
seeing some
that's good.
thumbs up. Okay. Great. I requested putting a bit of a discussion about Act 181. I know that surrounding towns have submitted letters to the state requesting to, get rid of this bill right now. And I know that Dover, you guys haven't discussed it in your select board.
No.
Wilmington did discuss it, but no action was taken. I do believe that Chris Campany came to from Wyndham Regional Commission, came to the select board meeting on Tuesday evening. I unfortunately wasn't able to be there. Sam, did you attend that? Not to put you on the spot, but.
This past select board meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, but only unfortunately for the beginning portion.
Okay. So I just want to make sure that people are being educated properly, and Wyndham Regional Commission does have a really good website. It's right up front and gives you facts and shows you all the mapping, and the mapping is the most important really part of this whole thing. So I don't know, Adam, I haven't heard much this week about Act 181. Do you know anything that's happening there?
Yeah, I'll forward the summary of yesterday's committee and floor activity to the group from DRM's legislative group, but it's a fascinating read. The result is that had a second reading, it passed, and so there's at the very end of the summary it says there could be some other amendments on the third reading, but that they anticipate it would just move. So this repeals both the road rule and the
Tier
Tier
3.
3.
yeah,
Right.
thank you. Tier 3. So, some of the other things they're trying to do is extend it from 28 to 30, some of the rule changes to give a little more time. That amendment was defeated, but yeah, it's just a really interesting read about all the dynamics, both within the Democratic leadership, the rank and file members, and the committees and the structure. It really is a good peek inside of what's happening. So I'll forward that to everybody.
Great.
And I know that there is a meeting this evening in Brattleboro at the where is that?
Don't know.
At the old Austin School
Oh,
campus.
Yeah.
And that is at 5:30 p.m. So, and they could probably give you an up-to-date from today. So if anybody's interested, did anybody have any comments they would like to make about Act 181?
According to Laura, I went to her office hours on Saturday. This is a tidal wave of pushback on this, that has really made a difference. And that's impressive. And she said she's never seen anything like this before, where so many different types of people are coming together and say, you just can't do this. This is not legal. So she's very hopeful and very positive. Things are gonna change.
Yeah, well, and this summary captures that sentiment, the pressure that, all of these different legislators are under, and it really has made a big change with those two significant changes, and a growing belief in the power of rural people to come together to speak out against Montpelier driven policy.
Good stuff. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
Vicky. Let's see, moving on to updates. So for Wilmington, the East Main Street Sidewalk and Sewer Project, we have hired Waters Excavation for the construction, and Dubois and King will be our project manager on site. We had our pre-construction meeting on Monday, and we should be in full construction on East Main Street in 2 weeks. And they are projecting that it'll be about 15 weeks of construction. So between the sewer project, and that's what they're going to start with first, which is right at the intersection of Beaver Street. So, but it's the north side. So looking forward to that.
Gretchen?
Yes.
I'm just going to jump in. Can you send me a side email about any road issues? Because I'm just trying to think that all the buses exit onto Route 9 from School and Beaver Street. So I want to make sure that if they're going to be working on that corner, we just are aware of the date so that we can adjust if we need to. Please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Hoot and Whistle Trail, we're having our opening on Saturday, May 23rd at 1 o'clock. We're almost to completion of what we had contracted for. We still have a lot of work to do on the trail, probably another $150,000 worth of construction still to go. But we need another grant for that. But we're really excited about what has been developed so far. And so we are doing a little celebration, and that's going to be down by the Moover entrance to the trail. I've been meeting with a lot of Sam and I have been meeting with some vacant building owners regarding, because Sam's doing another business plan competition, which is great, and pairing that with the historic tax credits. We're getting a little bit of traction, we feel. We're feeling positive about that, and hopefully that will take off. There's been other activity around businesses opening, which is really terrific. So I got some new stuff coming in. Let's see. And Planning Commission, they're working on a town rewrite. Right now, they're about halfway through. And what's going to be new in this is the arts and culture section that has never been in there before. So that's good. Veterans Park construction will be happening starting within the next month or so. And last but not least, Scott and I will be going to Barrie on May 27th to justify our banners. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Gretchen, could you just speak more about the banner issue?
Sure. So there was a complaint from a non-resident that we did not have permitting for those. And VTrans, and it got thrown up the pike. It was internal at first. Then it got to V-Trans, and V-Trans was getting a lot of pressure, and they felt like we needed to go through the permitting process, which requires an 1111 permit. And it also requires going before the Travel Information Council or Travel, I'm sorry, I'm not getting the exact name of the
Sure.
the thing. So and so you can't get the 1111 permit, and that's that 1111 permit is for working in the right of way of the state right of way. So we had to send up all the information about our banners, including, you know, what they look like, how often they're changed out. And we have to go justify, you know, they wanted the length. We'll have to do a banner inventory if we do get them, that to make sure that they're 16.5 feet above ground. And yeah, there's lots of stipulations around them.
Right, well, that's better than the last time you reported on this, which was you just can't have banners.
Well, we may not get our outside banners. They have told me to prepare that you'll probably get your downtown banners, but you might not get those on the outside of the downtown. And that's all of the by-town marketing banners. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Okay, Dover.
I'll start. We are getting very close to the reappraisal notices being sent out. They'll be sent out this month. Then we're going to be probably in for the first step is New England Municipal is going to offer 5 days of meetings, 15-minute slots for anybody who wants to grieve at that point. And some adjustments can be made on the spot. And then there'll be obviously lots of BCA meetings dealing with grievances. This year we're at 53%, so it's going to be a big shock for people to see how much their property's worth. Planning Commission is still working on the rewrite of the zoning bylaws. That's about it for me, I guess.
Shannon?
Our business facade program, Do It, is open for applications through May 31st. I've seen a handful of those come in so far, which is great. I'm continuing to work on town website updates, our short-term rental program registrations and renewals, which is new. So our first batch of those are coming through and seeing how that works in the process. I'm participating in a panel next week for the Vermont Planners Association about our registration program. Our recreation manager, Gordon, has settled in. After a few months, he's out working on projects in Dover Town Forest and Horace Hill, which is fantastic, and on the disc golf course, so it's nice to see that work happening. I met with the new Snow Mountain Market owner, and he is really hoping for a July 4th opening, but also not sure that's going to be possible, but he's working on it. But it was nice to see him in. If you haven't driven by, it looks very different from the outside. And that happened very quickly. Framing is always fast, right? So hoping to see that open soon. He was hiring staff when we last spoke because he is not interested in running the market day to day. So hopefully he's got some great help shortly. I did return to our regular meetings with Leah. So we've always historically met with the Mount Snow Jam. So it's nice that that's happening again. And looking forward to summer. The concerts start, I think last time we met, I said they were starting July 5th, but that's a lie. They start June 28th. Working on all of our newspaper ads for that to go out and gearing up for Blueberry Festival in town, which I'm sure Pam will share more about. But that's it for me.
Okay, any questions? Hearing none, and nobody's here from the Hermitage Club. Liam, non-STEM.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks for having me. We just wrapped up an incredible winter season, and my priorities were to increase our efficiency and, as always, guest and employee experience. And then my top priority is always safety. And I'm just really incredibly grateful to our Mount Swift team for making this season very successful and very memorable. We had over 130 inches of snow, and we opened on November 22nd and closed on April 18th over in Corinthia. It was a nice Saturday, and it was going to rain on Sunday, so we decided to go ahead and go out with a boom on Saturday. Operationally, we were very strong, and we saw very positive guest feedback, and we also delivered a really excellent safety record with sustained year-over-year improvement this season. You may recall that we've made a significant investment in staffing a much larger lift maintenance team since last season. And we saw the direct results of that investment, along with the addition of a lift maintenance expert as our senior director of mountain operations. So we have really meaningful improvements in our lift performance. Those who were on the mountain, I think, really recognized and noticed that, as our reliability was up quite a bit compared to last season. We also had a strong focus on guest experience. Our senior leaders had a very strong presence on Main Street. And then we had guest experience activations like giving out candy canes or free cookies and sugar on snow during holiday weekends and weeks. Our signature events kicked off with Santa Claus in the main base lodge. That was December 21st. Then we had our New Year's Eve celebration and torchlight parade and fireworks. And we also hosted a new family-friendly New Year's Eve celebration in the Grand Summit Hotel this season. We also had our snow tubing and a new disco tubing event around Pride weekend. We had adaptive sports at Mount Snow and live music at Station Tap Room and live music at the Snow Barn. We also had trivia at Harriman's and a live acoustic series. We had our grommet jams and Epic Pass holders first tracks. February 20th, we kicked off Pride weekend with the Pride Parade, Pride Ride, and après music. The last weekend in February, we hosted Women's Weekend, and that had group ski and snowboard lessons, yoga, and also a ski along with female controllers. And then we had our 17th annual Corinthia Classic, 14th of March, along with Vermont Specialty Foods Day and a day for Jake. And we had the Jack Jump World Championships the next day on Sunday, the 15th of March. The weekend of the 20th, we had Reggae Fest, the Sink or Spin on Skin, and the Duct Tape Derby. And then we hosted a spring block party as a new event. This was actually supposed to be mid-season block party, but it was too cold the 2 weekends we tried to do it in the middle of winter. So we actually had it in the spring, and something that we plan to have again next season. We'll just have to time it or have it inside according to how cold it is. We also had some great spring skiing, and as I mentioned, we closed our winter season on April 18th. So now we've just been in the mode getting ready for summer. So we are planning to open the golf course and fairways on May 15th. And we're also getting ready to open mountain biking and scenic lifts anticipated for June 20th. We have just recently welcomed a new lift maintenance manager. He joined us from Wildcat and Adjournment. We're really excited to have him. You may recall that the Snow Lake Dam is being removed for our Act 250 requirements, and we're making good progress on that, which is right now in the permitting phase. Hopefully we'll get the approvals we need because we'd like to start drawing down the lake by late summer or early fall. And so basically this will just be slowly lowering the water level on several days, and then we can see the exposed lake bed to start vegetating the area, stabilizing the exposed riser structure with some fresh stone, and watch for any sediment runoff. And if we can go ahead and start drawing down the lake this summer, although it's not required for the completion of the project in 2027, It'll just help us dry out that area and make it easier to complete the construction. So this should all be completed in the summer of 2027, in line with our 2027 Action 50 deadline. So hopefully it's the beginning of that with the drawdown. We are opening the Mount Snow Outdoor Exploration Plan for kids to explore the Green Mountain National Forest June 22nd, and that will go until August 28th. And we're planning our first summer block party for June 26th, right before our Independence Day celebration on July 3rd. We have the Eastern States Cup Downhill Mountain Bike Race on August 1st to 2nd. And the 31st annual Mount Snow Groomers Festival should be on Saturday, September 5th. So lots of exciting events. We're getting the mountain ready for visitors, and we're really excited about the summer. So it's great to see you all this morning. It's been fun.
Thank you, Leah. Any questions for Leah? You didn't get to go to San Diego, Leah?
I did not get to go to San Diego. I got to go to Florida last year, so different genes are going to be there. Or there this year.
Yeah.
I love
Nice.
San Diego.
Right. Okay, BDCC.
Yeah, okay. So one thing we've been really paying attention to that I think is relevant for folks on today's call is the census data and the impact it has on new market tax credit eligibility and opportunity zone eligibility. So we first sort of attuned to changing metrics in Dover when we learned that Dover would be eligible for some of the water funding for the water project because of its low income. So of course we all think of Dover as a gold town, right? And all the things that come with being a gold town, but the indicators are really shifting. So right now, because of the median income of full-time year-round residents in Dover, it is becoming eligible for programs that it was not ever eligible for prior. Of note is the new market tax credit program, probably just only for Mount Snow or some other really significant investments. One, they have to often be a mixed use investment. It can't be just like straight housing. You could never support like a condo development. But if there's jobs involved, it can support those kind of projects. So a base lodge revamp or anything like that would be eligible if there was some mixed use, could have housing above and jobs below. And that brings about 23% free money to a project. So projects we've done typically fall in the $20 to $30 million range. And so, bring $5 to $6 million. So really help add to the capital stack to make those projects that don't make sense start to make sense. And layered now on top of that will be the potential for an opportunity zone. So opportunity zones were first created in 2017 tax bill and implemented in 18. And Dover was not an eligible community at the time. But it looks as if it is now in the safe harbor designation by the U.S. Treasury. And right now we're in the process working with the governor's office to advocate for all of Windham County safe harbor districts, in addition to proposing one or two districts, and these are census tracts that are not eligible but are within the margin of error on their data. And that namely would be North Brattleboro. But for Dover, it is a safe harbor eligible opportunity zone that brings 30% step up in basis for people who have a capital gain. So what this means is wealthy people locally or from Nebraska can invest into an opportunity zone, and it reduces the amount of debt that a project needs because it's an equity investment. And so it, again, just makes those projects pencil out a little easier. Those investors get a solid return on that step up, as well as some other additional benefits. So that's something we're really paying attention to. I'm happy to talk with folks if they're interested in learning more. Probably the big news for this week is next week we have the Southern Vermont Economy Summit hosted in the lovely town of Dover and at Mount Snow. So thank you all for the support for that. And if you've not yet registered, if you go to register, it won't let you, but just email me, and we'd be happy to get folks in at the last minute here, for who've not. We are expecting, a solid attendance similar to past years, which is approximately 300 people. I think we have registered a few more, but probably won't see everybody show up. There's folks who spend that kind of money and don't show every year. And we've got a great event planned. So again, if you have not yet registered, let me know if you're interested. Lastly, share that we are pursuing some increased workforce development opportunities under the Rural Healthcare Transformation Funds, and hope to be creating a healthcare sector pre-apprenticeship program for phlebotomists, medical assistants, nurse LNAs, and just general healthcare field, so that people can really explore any of those options locally, and then move into an apprenticeship or certified program. So we're hoping to kick that off later in the fall. I'll leave it there. Thanks, everybody.
Any questions for Adam? Thanks, Adam. Christine.
Good morning, everybody. First, sorry I missed the March meeting. Really quickly, the biggest update I have right now is our final numbers, or our final ridership numbers came in for the winter. We were actually up 4% across the board for winter ridership this year, which was really nice to see. It's been a while since we've had an uptick in winter ridership. And that's actually after we had some route cuts, if you all remember from last spring. So we used to have a second mover route that would go on the weekends that we didn't have this winter, and we were still up in ridership. So of course, that just tells me that if we had both routes, we'd be up even more. But funding is funding. So it was a great winter. We had a really successful one. We had great seasonal employees this year that actually 90% of them stuck through, which is a bonus. And we're looking at about 75% to return next year. So trending in the right direction for employees as well. As far as summertime, I was not here. I do not know, by the way, if anybody attended. Randy did a presentation here at the Moover last week or a week and a half ago for the history of the building. I think there's another one coming up in May. So if anybody's interested in attending that, let me know. I'll find out that date. And we are just summertime. So it's kind of our quieter time. We get to kind of sit back and collectively catch our breath. The state funding for transportation is tight. I'm sure everybody's feeling the same pain if you're in a grant situation. So we will have our funding for next year, probably in the next month or so. So looking for everything to kind of be status quo. So if anybody has any questions, the next big thing we have is fireworks. Aaron will be in touch with, I think it's Pam at the chamber to talk about that, but that's our next big event for the summer, and the rest of it's just kind of a little bit quieter.
Thank you, Christine. Any questions for her? Okay. And last but not least, Pam, chamber.
Hi. So our first event of the season was the Chili Beer Stroll, which was successful. We had about 400 participants, and we lucked out on the weather. It was great. So that was a lovely way to start off our season of events. Our golf tournament's on Monday, June 15th, sorry, and I know some of you will be there playing, some of you will not. That's all right. Not everybody's a golfer, but we're doing quite well in that, and we've had great sponsorship, and right now looking at 80 plus players. We're still, some people wait till the last minute to sign up. Then fireworks, as Christine and other people have mentioned, on July 2nd. Everything's pretty much in place for that. Just now, weather is our thing. July 10th is our rain date if the weather gods don't cooperate with us, but we're definitely hoping for good weather on the 2nd. And then, of course, big focus is Blueberry Festival and Wine and Harvest later in the season, and all those pieces are coming together. Dover approved funding for both of those, which was great to have that secured. Next, I'll be applying to Wilmington for their funding for those events. the other thing I'm working on, and I've talked to Gretchen and I've talked to Sam and other people, is trying to bring back having a banner hanging across Route 9 near the stoplight. And some of what Gretchen is going through is, I'm learning all the processes. Adam, a question I had for you. I was in Bratt the other day and noticed the banners hanging up there. Do you know who is in charge of those banners? Because I have some questions about those banners because they're manufactured and hung a little differently than I was looking at.
Oh, I could write a chapter, if not half of a book, on banners and hanging them over roads from my time at the chamber in Wilmington Works. Actually climbing up ladders and hanging them myself at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
That Brattleboro took over the road there so they can hang it there. That's the short of it. Whereas Route 9 is still a state highway
Right.
through Wilmington, and then Brattleboro, it's a town road. So
Well,
they can do what they want.
The question though is that I'd be curious where they bought them from because the manufacturing is a little different. And then also how they're attached because it specifies they're supposed to be breakaway attachments and the clips that they use look like they would break away versus a carabiner, which is what I was thinking about.
Gotcha.
Anyway, that could be a sidebar conversation, but if you know who manufactured put me in touch with the right person.
DBA will know. Kate.
Okay. Kate. Well, Kate's gone.
Kate Traskos from DBA.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Pam, I can send you Kate's contact info.
Great. I don't know her. And
well, we have to fix that. If you don't know her, let's make sure we introduce you. Are you participating in the business coalition meetings on once a month on Wednesdays?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, any questions for Pam? Sam, could you give us a little update on Wilmington Works and things that are coming up for us, like Restaurant Week? Ooh.
Sure. So I'll start with the business plan competition because our applications open May 18th, and that is going to be one winner with a cash prize of $40,000. So that'll be our third business plan competition that will run through the summer, and the final event for that will be in October. Wilmington Works is hosting our first Restaurant Week, which will be a total of 9 days at the end of June. Starting on June 19th. So we're pretty excited for that. And I think a lot of our restaurants are excited to have an event that just features them, which is pretty cool. And then we're gearing up I think we're doing the most events that we've done this summer. So we'll have 3 strolls and our block party. 2 of our strolls are, we have been planning alongside the Wilmington 250th committee. And our first stroll is May 23rd. Then we have one June 19th and July 18th. And then our block party on August 8th. In the mix, our Economic Development Committee will be planning at least 2 new residence events as well this summer.
The Economic Development Committee is also working on a parking analysis with in conjunction with Wyndham Regional Commission. They're helping us put that together. So we're looking for new parking, employee parking, all that kind of thing in the downtown.
Thank you, Gretchen. I don't know how I could possibly forget the parking.
Parking all the time. Any questions for Sam? Okay. Anything else that anybody wants to bring before the committee today? Tim, I'm so glad you're hanging in there. All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
That was Heidi. A second?
I'll second.
Like Christina.
So all those in favor?
Bye,
everybody.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.